Hello, fellow internal explorers, Dr. O, and I want to have this discussion, and we're talking about relationships, so you should have read your chapter on relationships. And I wanted to, what I call this is relationships are a piece of cake, and actually, piece of cupcake. So I like this one because you'll see later. I want to talk about how, when we think about relationships, we're thinking about relationships typically between two people, right? Or a group of people, just the relationship that you have between different individuals. The one that I want to talk about is more the relationship within yourself. This is the one that is one of the most important things that you have and that people normally don't think about because they're too busy trying to figure out the other person and what that other person wants or what kind of relationship can I be in, right? So the way I look at it with the cupcake is that you are the cake part of it, right? The cake part of it has the all the ingredients in there. It has, everything that makes it good and tasty. Now, the frosting is the other person, okay? So when you're taking a look at a relationship, you want to make sure you take a look at yourself and make sure that your cake, is done well and is, has the right ingredients. If you have too much baking soda, it's gonna be sour. It's not gonna work well, right? And then on the other hand, the other person, they have to be their own cake too as well. In other words, they have to have the same kind of ingredients, at least something that is tasty and that works together, right, within themselves. And the frosting, let's say for example, for me, I am a cake. This is my cake. My wife is my frosting. Okay, she fits perfectly for me because the flavors and the taste don't contradict. They don't. You ever had a cake or a cupcake or something where the frosting was just either too sweet or it just didn't work? Okay, you have to have the perfect balance between the two, but more importantly, you have to make sure that the cake, has to be well done or put together well enough for you to stand alone. Because a great cake, if you can just eat the cake itself and it tastes great, that's a great cake. You don't need the frosting, right? And vice versa. Okay, sometimes the frosting is really good and the cake is like, eh. But together, if you have a cake and a frosting that really would match well, then it's going to be very tasty. So one of the things I want you to think about also when you're talking about relationships is, again, we look at relationships with other people. And a lot of times, unfortunately, people try to get into relationships so for what they can find or get from somebody else. And tell me what you think about this as I go through this. But really, the reason why you get into relationships is an opportunity for you to express the best part of who you are. Okay? I'll say that again. Relationships are opportunities for you to express the best part of who you are. Another example, you're in traffic, right? You get mad at traffic. Why would you get mad at traffic? Because you are traffic. You're in relationship to traffic. Or the weather. You're in relationship to the weather. Okay? How you want to see it is going to depend on how the outcome is of that relationship. Okay, so you get all pissed off at the traffic, and start being some road rage going on. But really, you are part of that. Sometimes whenever I'm driving and I get stuck, like say on the I-10, and I just say, hey, I'm gonna look around. I'm just gonna change the way I look at things, and things I look at will change, according to Dr. Wayne Dyer. So really, when you're looking at relationships, it can be any kind of relationship with school, with other people, within yourself, okay, within the weather, traffic. It all depends on how you want to perceive it. And as you perceive it, that's the way it will become. So I heard something before that someone said, it isn't the situation that we get upset at, it's your perception of it. In other words, you can't change the past. There's something I told, there was a girls' home that I was working with as a therapist after my master's program. And I told them, I go, you can't change the past, but you can change your perception of it. So in a sense, I was saying you have a relationship with your past, or those thoughts that go through your head. You can't change the past. That's happened. You can change your perception of it, and I'll talk about scars a little bit later, but that's something to think about in terms of relationships. Now, one of the things I want you to think about too, when you're talking about a relationship within yourself and other people, use 1 Corinthians 13 as a checkoff list. Okay? I'm not going to say it all, but I'll try to get a copy to you, but you can look it up yourself. 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient. Love is kind. You hear these at weddings all the time. Love is never boastful. It never, is excited about bad things. Love is patient. Love is kind. It's never boastful. It always supports. So the question I ask of you, and discuss it in the down below. Are you patient with yourself? If you say you love yourself, are you patient with yourself? Are you kind to yourself? Or do you say things that bring yourself down? Remember I talked about, listening to the negative thoughts or the negative critical parent. Is that you? Use it as a checkoff list. Are you kind to yourself? Are you patient? So think about that, because you have to start there. Because if you can't love yourself, you're not going to love anybody else. You're not going to be able to. So it has to start within you. So the relationship within yourself, with yourself, is key. Can you forgive yourself? A lot of times we go through life, we can't forgive ourselves. Why? I don't know. I try to learn as much as possible, but I don't beat myself up over it. Okay, once I've learned it, I moved on. I know that reading some of your comments in some of the other areas, some of you are able to do that. You're able to forgive yourself. You learn from it, and then you move on. So let's do this. Remember, relationships are like a cupcake. You are the frosting, or you are the cake. Person in your life is the frosting, and vice versa. They are their cake. You're their frosting. And in order for it to meld well, the cake has to be able to be tasty and well formed by itself, as well as the frosting. So make some comments on the bottom there. I'm going to enjoy this. This is the best part. Pumpkin caramel. That's hot. Let me know what you think, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Okay, thanks. Bye.